Throwaway account because my main has coworkers and nosy relatives. Grab a snack. This is long, but I promise the payoff is worth every paragraph. I proposed to Lena 3 Christmases ago in front of her parents' fireplace after her dad poured the good bourbon. She cried so hard the dog panicked and knocked over the camera tripod. We'd met 4 years earlier during a fire safety audit I ran at the architecture firm where she did marketing. Our banter then was sparks and sarcasm. 6 months later, we were sharing a lease and splitting sushi bills. I'm 34 now, she's 32, and for most of those years we were the solid couple among our friends. The template everyone referenced when their own relationships wobbled. If a brunch conversation needed an example of healthy compromise, people pointed at us. I wore that reputation like turnout gear. You assume it'll protect you until the flames get inside. Fast forward. I bought a 3-bed ranch on the edge of town with sweat equity dreams. I renovated every weekend, paint under fingernails, sawdust in beard, and Lena staged Instagram before and afters like we were Chip and Joanna. I paid the mortgage, utilities, and a chunk of her grad school loans because my career was surging. Lead fire engineer, 6-figure salary, bonuses tied to code revisions I helped draft. The plan was simple: advance my license, marry, then kids within 2 years. She taught yoga on weekends for side cash and insisted her real calling was creative consulting, which translated to sponsored posts about oat milk. I didn't mind. My inner spreadsheet said we could afford a dream wedding and a future nursery as long as the roof didn't cave in, metaphorically or literally. First faint crack. Last spring, she started leaving her phone face down, silent mode. One night she hopped in the shower and Spotify on her laptop popped up a notification. "Mark, can't wait to see you." I asked. She dismissed it as harmless nostalgia. I believed her because trust is oxygen, invisible until you choke. Wedding prep generated stress. We chose a converted textile mill venue, caterer that did wood-fired pizza, florist who promised boho but not basic. Deposit schedule was ruthless. I fronted the cash, tracked receipts in a binder. We attended premarital counseling through her church, even though I'm agnostic. The counselor's biggest concern? We argued about whose family we'd visit for Thanksgiving. Typical, mundane stuff. Then came August. 7 weeks before vows, Lena ambushed me in the kitchen. I remember the exact phrasing because it tattooed itself onto my cerebellum. "I love you, but I need a break to reconnect with parts of myself that you can't reach." Parts named Mark, apparently. She said she needed clarity, maybe a week. She'd stay at her sister's. My stomach free fell, but I played calm. "Does this include physical stuff with him?" Her response: "I can't promise it won't." That was the kill shot. A switch flipped. Shock, yes, but underneath buzzed a weird engineer logic. Identify load, design controlled burn. While she packed, I Googled break means breakup and found the Reddit gospel. If someone asks for space to explore someone else, they've already left. She drove off Saturday. That night, my friend Chris and his wife dragged me to a bar to keep me from doom scrolling. Chris stepped out to smoke and texted me a photo minutes later. Lena, on the patio across the street, sitting knee to knee with Mark, their faces fused like magnets. Timestamp 10:34 p.m. Evidence secured. Sunday morning, I spread every wedding invoice across the dining table and started triage. Contracts allowed 72-hour cancellation windows before the next balance. I fired off emails requesting refunds, venue, florist, DJ, photographer, suit rentals. The caterer kept $3,000, but I salvaged $29. I rang Amex to dispute the honeymoon charge, an overwater bungalow in Bora Bora, citing fiancé infidelity. Rep laughed, approved provisional credit. Score. Monday. Called Realtor Dana, whom I'd met at a neighborhood barbecue. Market had cooled, but inventory was low. She estimated listing by Friday if we hustled. I spent that afternoon decluttering, photographing rooms, and painting over Lena's accent wall before Dana arrived with a Matterport camera. By Wednesday, we had 4 offers, 1 cash with 30-day close. I accepted, contingent on buyer keeping my dog door mod to the patio. Simultaneously, I called HR to request permanent remote status. My role reviewing building fire plans was already 90% desk work. They agreed. Without roots holding me, I played relocation roulette. I spun the digital globe and stopped on Portland, Maine. Far enough that casual pop-ins were impossible. Coastal because I love sailing. And weird enough that nobody from my Midwest circle vacationed there. I booked a 3-month rental that allowed dogs, wired deposit with part of the refund windfall, and mapped a route east. During escrow, Lena ghosted except 2 terse texts asking how I was. I responded with a single thumbs-up emoji, then silence. She posted filtered mountain selfies with "finding myself" captions. Mutual friends pinged me, worried I was being petty. I ignored judgment. They hadn't watched their future dissolve over craft beer. I switched all shared utilities to my name only and scheduled shutoffs for the day after I vacated. I cataloged Lena's belongings to avoid legal accusations. Every tank top, yoga mat, novelty mug. I boxed them, labeled, and stacked in the garage corner. My therapist, found via BetterHelp Monday at 9 a.m., applauded the organization as productive processing. Closing day. I signed docs, transferred 75% equity to a concealed credit union account, loaded my dog Bear into the truck, and left the ring in an envelope taped to the fridge beside itemized vendor refunds, all in my name. Note: break acknowledged, no return. Then we drove east for 4 days, podcasts blasting, Bear's head out the window while Missouri, Indiana, Pennsylvania blurred. I blocked Lena's number midway through Ohio Turnpike. Portland welcomed me with foghorns, lobster rolls, and a rental duplex 2 blocks from the harbor. I set up a standing desk overlooking the Atlantic. The salt smell felt like cleanser. Work flourished. New codes for lithium battery warehouses. While after hours I learned to build cedar strip kayaks in a community workshop. I told new acquaintances I was recently unengaged, glossing details. Therapy Wednesdays drilled into me that revenge is only healthy if it pivots into self-care instead of obsession. So I didn't stalk Lena's socials. I salted the urge by turning off all reminders. Life grew like fresh drywall over charred studs until April. YouTube served me a viral clip titled "Craziest Wedding Disasters 2025. At 3:48, I saw a bride outside a brick event hall, mascara streaming while police lights flashed. She braced against a squad car, sobbing, as officers wrestled a tuxedoed man to the ground. Something in my gut lurched. I rewound, paused. The bride's ankle tattoo, Roman numerals of her late grandma's birthday, same one Lena had inked sophomore year. My pulse pounded. Curiosity, the forbidden fruit, finally won. I unblocked Chris and called. His laugh turned into a 45-minute info dump. Turns out Lena and Mark ignited like gasoline after I left. Within 2 months, they announced their engagement. Ring bought on credit. Her parents, mortified but supportive, funded a scaled-down March wedding. Vendors demanded upfront cash because my refund scramble had spooked them. Mark alleged he'd secured a promotion. Truth, he was on final warning for tardiness. January, He got fired for showing up drunk after a hockey game. Instead of telling Lena, he maxed her credit card for a new gaming console to unwind. Wedding day was nuclear. Half the vendors refused service due to late payments. Venue demanded remaining balance at the door. Father of the bride's card declined. Mark tried to negotiate, then swung at the manager, connecting with a cop instead. He was arrested on site for assault and drunk disorderly. Guests scattered. Someone filmed chaos. Thus, the viral clip. Charges stuck. He's currently serving 6 months and owes restitution to the manager and the cop's chipped tooth. Lena moved back to her parents' basement. Credit score plummeted. Yoga studio replaced her with a younger instructor after she no-showed classes. Friend circle shrank. Chris said she'd asked about me repeatedly, whether I was happy, if I'd ever forgive her. He gave 0 updates per my request. That knowledge should have been enough, but schadenfreude is an addictive spice. I wanted her to taste the silence I'd mastered. Phase final. Ghost pepper. Step 1. Create a whisper. I unblocked her number and posted a LinkedIn update. Under contract on my first multifamily investment, closing soon. Audience. Connections only. Lena still followed my profile for branding gigs. Within hours, a main area code rang twice, left 1 voicemail. Her voice airy, desperate. Can we talk? I just want closure. I reblocked. Step 2. Send a cease and desist styled email, no lawyer, just firm language, warning against further contact. I included a PDF link to privacy laws. The subject line alone likely spiraled her anxiety. Step 3. Donate the engagement ring. Platinum, flawless 1.6 carat, GIA certified, originally cost me 3 months' salary. I insured it, shipped to the Burn Survivors Children's Fund, the charity we'd planned to sponsor at our wedding in lieu of favors. I enclosed a note. From a fire that forged a better future. Use for whoever needs new skin more than I needed old promises. The charity director emailed gratitude, saying they'd auction it at their gala. Estimated proceeds, $25 grand. That felt better than any pawn shop check. 4 days later, I received a certified letter. Lena, handwritten, begging me to call. She cited therapy, accountability, God, fate, Mercury in retrograde, anything. She offered apologies for hurting you, asked if we could at least be friends. She did not know I'd left Maine for a week-long kayak expedition and had my mail on hold. When I returned, I photographed the envelope for record, shredded it unopened, and dropped it into the compost. Worms can digest what I won't. Psychologists say closure comes from understanding, but sometimes understanding is that you don't owe the arsonist a tour of the ashes. Another key piece, Lena's dad, Jerry, a retired Air Force mechanic, once called me the adult in the relationship. After the break, I rang him, laid out Lena's plan. He paused a long time, sighed, and said, I wish I was surprised. He thanked me for sparing their family public embarrassment and told me I'd always have a lawnmower blade sharpening on the house. Before I left, Chris and a couple buddies threw an impromptu Bachelor Freedom BBQ. No strippers, just ribs, cornhole, and a ceremonial burning of my monogrammed wedding napkins. The flames were small but symbolic. I kept 1 charred napkin corner, slipped it into my wallet as a reminder that paper promises burn fastest. Driving cross-country alone with a dog exposes you to thoughts you've shelved for years. Somewhere around Utica, I realized I'd spent our entire relationship overlooking micro-betrayals. Lena forgetting my birthday until Facebook reminded her. Lena borrowing my credit card points to buy boots. Lena letting Bear out late, then blaming me for muddy paw prints. None were capital crimes, but stacked end to end, they formed a dam ready to burst. Cheating was merely the overdue flood. First month in Portland was equal parts joy and disorientation. I rented a paddleboard, fell twice, laughed underwater. I tried Moxie soda, objectively terrible, and a whoopie pie the size of a steering wheel, objectively awesome. I woke to ship foghorns instead of traffic honks, and the absence of Lena's white noise app made silence a luxury. Bear adjusted quickly. Dogs live in present tense, a skill humans envy. Therapy session 5 was the breakthrough. My counselor, Dr. Owens, asked, "If Lena called apologizing sincerely, what would you want?" My answer surprised me. Nothing. Absolute nothingness. I want her to feel the boundary like a brick wall. He nodded, scribbled, and said, "That's closure, a closed door." Every revenge step thereafter aligned with reinforcing that wall. When YouTube finally tempted me, I wrestled with opening Pandora's box of updates. I even asked myself, if her life is amazing now, will that set me back? I reasoned I was stable enough. Turns out karma saved me from that hypothetical discomfort by giving her the live-action train wreck. Let's examine that day in detail because schadenfreude deserves accuracy. The viral clip showed Lena in a flannel thrown over her sleeveless dress because half the heaters inside weren't paid for. Her makeup smear wasn't from tears alone. The wind chill in March around home is brutal and cracked her foundation. The wedding hashtag sign behind her kept swinging on its broken easel. A bridesmaid, her cousin Emma, shouted, "This is insane!" Seeing Emma's disgusted headshake was the final nail. My cease and desist email deserves its own paragraph. Legalistic tone, 900 words, citations of state stalking statutes, and a stern reminder digital harassment includes third-party messages. I read it aloud to Dr. Owens first. He rated it firm yet proportionate. I clicked send, then set my email filter to auto-archive anything from her domain. The power of proactive boundaries can't be overstated. Donating the ring had been an idea since week 1, but I waited intentionally. Gems depreciate emotionally more than financially. By month 8, I could drop it at FedEx without my pulse spiking. When the charity director's thank you letter arrived, I framed it above my home office desk. Whenever I draft fire safety guidelines now, that frame reminds me prevention beats extinguishing. What about the wedding vendors I'd canceled? One of them, the photographer, called me after seeing the viral clip. He'd refused to work Mark's fiasco because of unpaid balances. He thanked me for giving early notice, said my refund allowed him to book another couple and avoid Lena's chaos. Dodged a bullet, he laughed. Community karma at work. I also reconnected with my sister, Melanie, who lives in Denver. She confessed she'd hated how Lena never let me talk about structural engineering because it was too nerdy. Melanie mailed me a mug. Talk fire codes to me. I use it daily. The duplex landlord offered to sell me the building once I mentioned my $160K house profit. I crunched numbers, secured a loan, and closed last month. Unit B's rent covers 80% of payments. Airbnb of the attic studio covers the rest. Passive income tastes like victory. Some commenters question why I didn't pursue reimbursement for wedding costs Lena initiated. Answer: legally messy, emotionally expensive. I calculated my peace of mind ROI and passed. Money is renewable, peace is scarce. Earlier I said Bear needs his walk, but let me indulge one final reflection. People romanticize forgiveness as the pinnacle of healing, maybe for some. For me, the pinnacle was neutrality. I don't wish Lena harm now, I simply don't care. Her story can twist on its own axis without affecting my orbit. Closure isn't always a handshake or a final conversation. Sometimes it's a locked door, a changed address, and a life that no longer fits their key. This chapter closes here, and the next opens brighter than I ever imagined could possibly be. TLDR. Fiancée wanted a break to test drive her cheating ex. I quietly canceled the wedding, sold my house, moved across the country, built an entirely new life, and stayed silent. 8 months later, her rebound wedding collapsed. Her fiancé was arrested, and her finances imploded. I donated the engagement ring to charity, and she's begging for closure I'll never give. Revenge was simply disappearing and succeeding.